Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Canada's Boxing Channel. It is fight day. In a few hours' time, we will see the undisputed heavyweight championship of the world, taking place, of course, in Wembley Stadium, London, UK, between the great Oleksandr Usyk, who is the lineal, the ring, WBC, WBA, WBO champion, and the British contender and IBF champion, Daniel Dubois. I should say, not contender, the British challenger, I guess, for all the belts that Oleksandr Usyk has. And he's a champion in his own right. Though it's important to note that Oleksandr Usyk was stripped of the IBF belt which Daniel Dubois wears, not in the ring, but outside of the ring. So in the eyes of many, Oleksandr Usyk is still the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. I know not technically, but in the eyes of many who say that in order for a champion to no longer be a champion, he or she has to lose the belts in the ring. Anyhow, there have been, of course, this morning, even a greater number of interviews of the good and the great in the sweet science, and some I have watched with great interest. I listened to Russ Anber being interviewed. I see that the bitterest man in boxing and his son have also been interviewed. I haven't watched those. I'm fed up to the back teeth, as they say, of the nonsensical and abusive comments that those two individuals are making about Oleksandr Usyk. Anything from questioning his apparently sincerely held religious beliefs through to allegations that he has cheated. I think these nonsensical comments are really harmful to Daniel Dubois' reputation, and arguably they are harmful to the reputation of boxing. I often think if the British Boxing Board of Control had any wits about them, they would come down hard on any person who brings the sport into disrepute. But I suppose that the British Boxing Board of Control, or maybe more properly be called the British Boxing Board of No Control. Anyhow, one of the interviews that I did listen to this morning was an interview conducted of Peter Fury, uncle of and one-time trainer of former Unified champion, I guess. Former WBC champion, but he's held all the belts in his career, Tyson Fury. And many would say that Tyson Fury performed at his absolute best when he was under the care of his uncle Peter. Peter Fury is the kind of fellow who I actually like to listen to. He tends to sort of, as they say, bat straight down the middle and doesn't appear to have axes to grind in any particular area. And he was asked about this upcoming fight. And Peter Fury essentially gives it as a 60-40 fight in favor of Oleksandr Usyk. He thinks that Oleksandr Usyk will prevail on points. He says that the best way for Daniel Dubois to win is, of course, to not stand off and try and box. If he stands off and tries and box, he's going to lose. He said what he should do is, of course, apply pressure, obviously educated pressure, not just come out, swinging his arms like a madman, and target the body, not because the body is sort of, Usyk is weak to the body, but he says target the body because the head moves, the hands faint, but the body doesn't really move as much, and so therefore it's a bigger and better target to go for, and of course that makes a lot of sense. He thinks that Usyk will prevail because Usyk has the better ring IQ, and that he has also, exceptionally good feet, and boxing is won as much with the feet as with the hands. When he was asked about whether or not Daniel Dubois has improved, he said absolutely he's improved. You know, he's really come along leaps and bounds, obviously referencing the fights against Big Baby Miller, Hrgovic, and of course most recently Anthony Joshua. But he did say that, and in response to being asked, that if Daniel Dubois is taken into deep waters and begins to sort of not know what he's doing, then the possibility is, having quit twice, that he would take a knee or quit again. He said, you know, if a boxer has demonstrated that, if it's within them, that they might fall back on that when the going gets tough again. Interesting observation, I thought. Because he said, you know, like, sure, you can be more mentally tough, but if it's in you, you might revert back to that. And he said that one of the things that, you know, you might keep going if you're able to sort of, you know, land punches. And even though you're losing rounds, if you're landing shots, you might be able to keep going. But when you get to the point where you're not landing because the opponent is simply too clever for you, too skilled, that's when it's very easy to give up. He also said that, you know, Usyk doesn't appear to be suffering from what's commonly referred to as the silk pajamas issue. You know, famously Marvin Hagler said, it's hard to get up and go training if you've been sleeping in silk pajamas. And Peter Fury said that Usyk is clearly well aware of this. And he locks himself away in these training camps in Spain, away from the money and away from the luxury, you know, things that he is could easily become accustomed to. And that he lives this life, and I think that's very accurate compared to sort of other fighters who we see, you know, between fights, you know, out celebrating and living that big celebrity lifestyle. Peter Fury also talked about, you know, whether or not his son. He talked about his son, Huey, so I'll talk about that. He said his son should be coming back in September, still got a problem with his hand. He's in the gym training and sparring, and he still thinks that his son has an opportunity or a potential to become a world champion. He's got all the skills, etc. His son, of course, is Huey Fury. When he was asked about his nephew, Tyson, that's what I was going to say originally, he said he has no idea whether or not he will come back. And he spoke about, you know, when you've got that much money, you know, best maybe to sort of enjoy life, enjoy your retirement. But he said he really has no idea. That's up to Tyson and his team. So there we go. That's Peter Fury's take. A 60-40 prediction, 60% chance that Usyk will win, 40% chance that Dubois will win. He does think that Dubois' only key to victory is a KO. He doesn't think he can win on points. But he said, you know, it's heavyweight boxing, and he spoke at length about how powerful and strong and potent Daniel Dubois is. So I thought it was a very even-handed, balanced assessment from somebody who isn't in the pay of Queensberry, and so therefore, you know, singing from that song sheet narrative put out by Frank Warren. Obviously not a member of Team Dubois, not a member of Team Usyk. And finally, when he was asked about the low blow that the British media seem to be constantly making a fuss about, Peter Fury said, it was low, on the low, yeah. So the groin shots hurt, and that's why you wear the protector. So again, even, well-balanced interview, and good to hear from somebody who apparently doesn't have a dog in the fight, so to speak, but is nevertheless highly knowledgeable about the sport and about the, you know, what it takes to win. So there we go. That's with several hours to go before the fight. Hopefully everybody has got their chips and beer or Häagen-Dazs or whatever it is that you enjoy in a big fight day, all organized, and that the TV is nicely warmed up, as they used to say. It's a reference that only those over about 60 years old will understand, but nevertheless, there we go. that's all from me for the moment. Please like, please share, please subscribe. I'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.